Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. 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 Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha.
Sri Matre Namaha. Namaskaram, everyone. Welcome back to our Sacred Rites and Rituals of Sanatana Dharma learning series, which is a joint presentation by the Sri Vidya Temple Society, Rochester, New York, USA, and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir of Sri Lanka. These lectures are conducted by Sri Chaitanyananda, affectionately known as Ayya. Ayya is the founder and Pidabhati of Sri Vidya Temple. Both Ayya and Amma Srimati Yanamba have dedicated their lives to the noble mission of preserving and spreading the knowledge of Devi worship and the rich tradition of Saivai Bhakti, as well as ensuring learning of these rich traditions is accessible to all individuals, regardless of caste, creed, or gender. Through this learning series, Ayya continues to share the wealth of knowledge and his continuous dream of making learning accessible to all individuals. The Sri Rajarajeswari Peetham will be celebrating Navaratri Brahmotsavam festival. The Dhwajastambam, our flag raising ceremony, will take place on September 29th. On October 6th, we will officially begin Navaratri Brahmotsavam with a unique Dasamahavidya Sahasranama Homam and Archana performed daily. On October 14th, Vidya Dasami will take place. Chandi Homam and Ratsovam will also occur on this day. A few housekeeping reminders before we begin today's session. Please use the question form to share any questions you might have pertaining to the content discussed. For those viewing our live stream, our question form can also be found on our webpage, which is srividya.org/aym-lectures. At this time, we will hand it over to Ayya. Thank you.
Om Hamsat Siva Soham Hamsaha Hasakafrem Hasakshamadavarayum Hasaum Sahakshamadavarayim Sahau Swarupa Nirupana Hetave Swagurave Sri Annapurneshwari Amba Sameda Sri Sri Amardhanandanada Saraswati Mahabhattaraga Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpajami Namaha. At this time, I prostrate before my esteemed Guruji, Sri Sri Amardhanandanada Saraswati of Devipuram, India, and I pray to him that he sit on my open heart lotus and speak through me. We started last week talking about the Brahmotsavam, interwoven with some stories, some rationale, and the argument that a temple built on tantric and agamic lines, where it intersects with Sri Vidya being a strictly personal and private sadhana. So we will continue on the same vein. We talked about the preliminary festival, which is known as Dhwaja Arohanam, raising of the flag. In the agamic side of things, the deity is to be treated as royalty. So this is one of the reasons why you will hear Mahatirupura Sundariye Namaha Samasta Raja Upachara Pujan Samarpajami. All the trappings of royalty are given to her. It is given like this because we want the ordinary people, not just the Sri Vidya Upasakas, the devotees that come to the temple who have no knowledge of what Sri Vidya is or what any of the agamic principles are. We want them to feel the reverence the respect that they would feel for a king. So the Dhwajarohanam, also we talked about it last time, is done 8 days before Ghatastapanam. 8 days before Ghatastapanam. Ghatastapanam means when the kalasams are established for all the deities that are to be worshipped during the festival. The reason being, in Ayurvedic law, it is understood that if one ingests a particular type of food, it will take the body 7 to 8 days to expel it completely from the body. So that is one reason. The second reason is, in the Tantric Dhwajarohanam that is done mostly in Kerala, I trace my ancestry to Palakkad, and Kuladevata was Chotanikara Bhagavati. And in that Bhagavati temple, there was an old Tantric, an Nambudri, who was a Tantric expert in Tantric sadhana. He is the one who wrote and gave how the Dhwajam has to be raised in a Tantric temple. Now here too, we have, there you will find an intersection between the Agamic temple and the Tantric temple. In the other Agamic temple, like I told you, the rings that are on the Dhwajam, numbering exactly the same as the vertebrae in a human body. And the fused vertebrae also is included. And the puja is quite elaborate. Abhishekam is done, and there are parts of the Dhwajastambam which we will start with today. So if we can bring the slide that shows the various portions of the Dhwajastambam, the standing yogi that represents a standing yogi, and if we can show the relationship between a human being and the flagpole and the Dhwajastambam. If we can go to that slide, please. There, you will find the top portion, Sudranasi, eyes, Mahanasi, nose, Kandam, throat, Prastam, shoulder, Pancharam, navel, Padavarkam, forearm, Kumbham, wrist, Parangikai, thigh, Adhishtanam, knees, and Upapedam, feet. Usually, in any one of the temples, any temple, whether it is Tantric or whether it is Agamic, you will find if the deity in the sanctum is facing east, on the east side of the Dhwajastambam, where it says Upapitam, there will be a Ganapati, permanent. And he is called Dhwaja Ganapati. The puja is to be done to him, and at the appropriate time, Ganapati Talam is chanted for him. And Naivedyam and Alankaram and all those things are offered to him. Now you see, the blue arrows show Arohanam and Avarohanam. Actually, the blue arrow should come down to where Adhishtanam is. It is from there that the flag is gently raised up. And in a Tantric temple, usually there is somebody called the Yajamanan. In this temple, when we built it, we were constrained by two things. One was, I was the Yajamanan of the temple, so we could not get any other measurement for it. And a flagpole had to be made. The second reason was we were constrained by the height of the pole barn that we converted into a temple. The ceiling was exactly 8 feet, 2.5 inches. So we had to confine the flagpole within that, because we never envisioned that we are going to be building a bigger temple. And like I talked to you before last week, there can be more than one flagpole in front of a deity. An example that if you want to see, if you go to the Kanchipuram Kamakshi temple, in front of the sanctum, there is an elevated stage. In that stage, there is an old flagpole, Dhwajastambam. And then, of course, outside the temple, they have erected a new one. I won't say new one, it was there. They have refurbished it and gold-plated it, and it's brand new. And this flagpole is outside the temple. So already a precedent has been created for us. We will have this. And one other thing about the Kamakshi temple is that it was a Jain temple before. The original Kamakshi is about half a mile away from the main temple, which is called Adi Kamakshi. It is that temple where Shankaracharya reinvested the Sri Chakram that was drawn on a rock by Durvasa Rishi. And I think after the Muslim invasions during the 13th, 14th century, it was brought from there to the present temple, the Yonipitam. The original Yonipitam is still there in that old Kamakshi temple, but not the Sri Chakram. Now, let us see. You see the English names are given there. Upapitam is feet. Adhishtanam, knees. Parangikai, that circular thing, some people call it kumbam. Some people call it parangikai. That's a colloquial term for it. And you see the rings that are going up. Obviously they don't number in the 30s to denote the spinal column, because here it is a tantric Dhwajastambam. Then kumbam is wrist, padavarkam forearm, panjaram navel, prastam shoulder, kandam throat, nose, mahanasi, sudranasi eyes. Now, in a temple where there is a Yajamanan, the height of the flag is determined from the ground up to his nose. So, in our temple, we have made arrangements for the flag to be, the cloth that we use for the flag to be stitched and brought. So, I think we are running out of it. We will need to get another set done. The material is usually cotton or raw silk. These two are the ones that are used. The flag is made in proportion to the Yajamana. Flag length is calculated by measuring the height from the ground to the nose of the Yajamana. Flag width is calculated by measure the width of his body. Arms of the swastika are equal to the fingertip to elbow measurement. Fingertip to elbow. Orumulam. So now, usually in an agamic temple, weeks before the Dhwajarohanam, Dhwajarohanam is done in an agamic temple the night before Ghatastapanam. That means if tomorrow is the festival, today they will raise the flag. But the flag is drawn many days before the event. They'll bring a stavadi and he will use kavi to draw the flag. Now, in a tantric temple, the flag has to be drawn on the day of the Arohanam. Now, the mixture that is used for the Dhwajarohanam, for the drawing of the flag, which will contain a swastika padmam in the center. If the theme of that Brahmotsavam is different every year, then different things will be drawn. But in a agamic temple, the same thing, there's a set formula that they use. Usually it will reflect the deity that is in the sanctum. Now you will see there are three different flags shown here. The first one, you will see the weapons of Mahatripura Sundari, and you will see the yantra for Bala Tripura Sundari, and you will see the Pasham Ankusham, right? Pasham Ankusham and Ikshudandam and Panchapushpa Banam. Now on the extreme left you will see a swastika padma. This swastika padma can be used. It is a generic design. You can draw this one for almost all the festivals. And the particular mixture that is used for this ceremony to draw the Dhwajam, the picture itself, saffron, very important. You must get the purest one that is available. Then Kasturi Manjal. Kasturi Manjal is turmeric. It's a different family. And when it is raw, if you break it and smell it, you will smell the smell of musk is there. That's why it is called Kasturi Manjal. Kunkumam. Please remember, the kunkumam has got to be made or has got to be manjal kunkumam. Excuse me, I have a nasty throat. Milk. And the milk is raw. It is not to be boiled, or nothing is supposed to be added in the milk. That milk is raw milk. Ghee. If you can manage to get organic ghee, from an organic farm, that's the best. Then edible camphor, that is properly powdered. The next one is Javvad. It is a perfume, natural perfume that is extracted from particular plants and purified. Ashtagandham. Now this Ashtagandham also, for your information, you cannot get Ashtagandham in the most purest form. At least in Chennai, I have tried. There's a street called Devaraja Mudalya Teru. I have walked up and down this street trying to find whether anybody has Ashtagandham. At present, the closest that you can get to pure Ashtagandham is in Mylapore, in Chennai. There is a hotel called Hotel Karpaham. Right next to the hotel, there is an alley. If you go inside, if you walk about maybe 25 yards inside, on your left side, you will find a store which says Sri Vidya Stores. That's the original. Now there are two. If you go in there and ask for Ashtagandham, they will give you. That's the purest form that I have been able to manage to get. Then, of course, some people prefer jasmine perfume. I, for one, prefer Nagachampa. And this Nagachampa perfume is used. Rose perfume, if it is available. Now, the next one is important. This dravyam contains 27 powdered herbs representing the constellations or nakshatras. When I was in my 20s, I did a once in a lifetime homam for the housewarming of my Graha Pravesham of my sister's house. And months before, started going to C Street, which is the equivalent of Devaraja Mudalya Teru in Chennai. C Street, anything for pujas you can buy there. And collected 36 different types of oil, 36 different types of wood, and 36 different types of herbs. Those herbs, at that time, I had no idea what they represented, but the owner of the shop that sold it to me told me that these are nakshatra dravyams. And they had to be powdered properly if you are going to use it for the Dhwajam. And these are powdered and added into the mixture. And Punuhu, it says civet oil. Punuhu is a natural perfume that comes out of the nether muscles of a particular type of cat. Heavily perfumed. Unfortunately, today in India, they do not have this. This cat has been extinct in India for the last 50 years or more. The only place where you find it is in Indonesia, in Bali. You can buy this. And it's fairly pure. And the next ingredient is musk. Kasturi. Kasturi also what you can buy in any of the stores in Chennai or Bangalore is fake stuff. The kasturi you can only get in the Middle East. The particular deer, kasturi man, they call it, is extinct in India. It's not available there. So once this list has been assembled, this stuff has been assembled, the mixture is made right in front of the devotees who are visiting for the Dhwajarohanam, and the flag is drawn. Along with the swastika padma, the inverted triangle which represents the yoni, and Surya and Chandra are to be included in this. The Suryan and Chandran are considered to be the eyes of the Dhwaja. The cloth is not usually red. You can see the Dhwajam being drawn. Sometimes they will use a off-white kind of a cloth. And once it has been drawn and it has been dried to a particular time, for a particular time, this is now taken, and 3 types of rope are attached to it, representing Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadis. Out of these, the Sushumna Nadi, the one that represents the Sushumna Nadi, is made of darba grass. Fortunately, it can be bought in Toronto. And those 3, the flag is to be, you have to stand on the left side as you are facing the deity in the sanctum. On the left side, you must stand on the left side of the flagpole. First of all, it is to be wiped with darba grass. That's a purification ceremony. Then a nyasam is to be done. Akshara nyasam is to be done for the Dhwajam. And the vahanam that is to be used is brought there. All the paraphernalia that you are going to use for the Dhwajarohanam is placed on a tray on top of the vahanam. And vahanam is wiped from head to tail with darba grass. And Akshara Nyasam is done, Bahir Matruka Nyasam is done. Once that is completed, the Dhwajam is to be taken in a tantric temple with Vadyam, Mangala Vadyam, to the sanctum, close to the sanctum. And Devi, a brief puja is done to her. Usually Panchopacharam will do. Important. At this juncture, Trai Maduram is to be offered to the Devi as Naivedyam. What is Trai Maduram? Ghee, honey, and banana. Or ghee, honey, and jaggery. There are, if you refer to various manuals, they give you different formulae for this combination. But the 2 important ingredients are honey and ghee. Devi is to be offered, and then Deeparadhana is done to her. And when you do the Deeparadhana has to be done close to the face, Kesa Adipadantam. And then you bring it up and do it with the eyes. Do it close to the eyes like this. Once you do it with the eyes, the life force from the eyes of the Devi will merge with the camphor flame, and that is taken over the flag and it is given to the flag. Now the flag is alive. Now you bring it back with the same kind of bells and conches and all the rest of it. And standing on the left side of the Dhwajastambam, others standing on the right side, the flag will face south. The Upasaka who is raising the flag will face north. He will face the flag. And on the other side, the assistants will slowly draw the thing. Now you can see the flag is quietly being raised up. They will pull the thing over the Sudranasi. Remember the third flap on top. And it will go and you will tie it. They will tie it on the Trisulam that is there. There are two kalasams and a Trisulam. And the Trisulam is facing the Devi. This is tied. And once it is tied, you can use, like I told you, there's a red rope, a yellow rope, and the Dharma grass rope. The red rope represents the right side, Surya Nadi. Left side represents Chandra Nadi. And the Dharma rope represents the Jnana Nadi, the third eye. And it is tied clockwise, anti-clockwise, does not matter, because when japam is done both ways, it is applied to the thing. So when you bring the thing down, now you see in this illustration, the yellow rope is being taken round. That is the Chandra Nadi, the Chandra part of it, in the Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. Right? And the Dharma rope is also, this thing, very carefully it is tied around, and the flag is to be dressed. So you will offer a new dhoti, preferably of silk, or silk/cotton, and angavastram for it. You will see the dhoti is being tied now on that illustration. Now, why is this? Because this is a standing yogi. Now, here is the major difference between a tantric ritual, which a Sri Vidya ritual is tantric. Major difference. The Trisulam from the Ishanyam, from the Bhairava, who is Kshetrapalan, the security guard in the temple, that Trisulam is brought and placed facing east on the Dhwajam. And that Trisulam is now made to be part of the Dhwajastambam, and the rope will pass through it, indicating in a festival, in a normal festival, all kinds of people, when they know that a temple festival is going on, all kinds of people, including non-Hindus, people who don't know anything about this, they'll walk into the temple. Now, there are specific rules of how a devotee should enter a Shivalayam. Very specific rules. You have to enter the Shivalayam. Imagine you're entering through the eastern entrance in our temple. So the first thing you will see as you open the door will be the Homagundam, which is the Mooladhara Kshetram of the Devi. Then you will turn to your right and offer your pranams to all the Nayanars that are there. That place is called Deva Asiriya Mandapam. Deva Asiriya Mandapam. Then you will go around the Homagundam in a clockwise fashion. You won't go around it, you will go on the side like that and enter the Shivalayam. And you are supposed to be chanting Om Namah Shivaya as you are walking in. And once you go, right in front of the Dhwajastambam, you should face north and perform. If you are a woman, you will do Panchanga Namaskaram. If you are a man, you will do either Ashtanga or Sashtanga Namaskaram. Then, while chanting Om Namah Shivaya, you will walk around the Prakaram. In our temple, the Prakaram is not there, so you walk behind the sanctum and walk around. Then you will do another Namaskaram. So these rules, people who are there just for the fun of it, they want to see how the festival is. How would they know? I'll digress a little bit and tell you a story. In the beginning, we had no Dhwajastambam. And because I was very keen that our people should know this, and the people who are walking into a temple without any knowledge of the Vidya or anything about Tantra or Saiva Siddhantam or anything like that, they will be used back home. When they walk into a temple, they will see a Dhwajastambam in front of them. So I disconnected pieces from the lamps that were there. Some of them were too tall. So I took portions from them and constructed a Dhwajastambam temporarily with all the features, the kumbham, the panjaram and all that, and made a box. And we did use that Dhwajastambam for 2 festivals, I believe. It was very thin. Because here again, that intersection between Sri Vidya and the Agamic temple had to be shown to them very clearly. Now, if you don't come into contact with people like that, the Bhairava that we installed, it was made by Vijayaraghavan Stabadi in Swamimala. And when that Bhairava was installed, I noticed people who come to the temple, invariably in their circuit around the deities and when they are circumambulating the temple, invariably some people will stub their toes or hit their head on the corners of the mandapams and he will draw blood. This happened about 4 or 5 times on a Saturday, Sunday, on a weekend. And I was watching. Then I recollected Mataji telling me that you have to be very careful when you install a Bhairava, that he will not stand for any disobedience or any omission when you come into a Shivalayam. And remember, we have a temple-sized Shivalingam in the temple. So I was thinking, what should I do about this? And a couple of days later, I remembered that in the Park Circle house, I had a Shivalingam made by the late Swami T. Murugabhushanam of mercury. 87 to 85 to 87% mercury. The balance up to 95%, I think, lead and herbs. I remember this and brought that and placed it in front of Bhairava. I had many of these. Now this Swami T. Murugabhushanam, his workshop used to provide really good yantras. And I had a 1 foot square Sri Chakram with the Bijaksharas in it. I did japam for that. I believe it was 1008 or some such figure. And placed it flat in front of Bhairava and placed the Shivalingam on top of it. That Shivalingam and that Sri Chakram are still there in that same place in the temple. And it stopped. The people hitting their head and stubbing their toes and all these things, it stopped. Because the mother was there in front, she would not let any of her children be harmed. That Bhairava that is there is Jnana Bhairava. If you look at him, he has a kamandalu in his hand. In one hand, he has a skull cup. Raktajwala Jadadaram Suvimalam Raktanga Tejomayam Trutva Sula, Trisulam is there. Pasa, noose is there. Kapala, skull cup is there. Sula, Pasa, Kapala, Damarukam. In the other hand, Damaru is there. Logasya Rakshakaram. He is carrying these weapons so that he can protect the world. Rakshakaram, to protect them. Right? Raktanga Tejomayam. From his body is emanating red color light. Tejas, he's effulgent. And the effulgence, the light that is coming out of his body is reddish in color. Right? And this entity, in the end, he keeps it. Raktanga Tejomayam, Trinayanam Ananda Kolakalam. Trinayanam, he has 3 eyes. Ananda Kolakalam. He is in a state of ecstasy. Right? Rakta Jwala Jadadaram. Flaming red hair. In the end, he says, he is Kshetrasya Balam Shivam. He is Shiva. And one of the 25 forms of Shiva, accepted forms, is Bhairava. Now this Bhairava has a connection with Amma's household back home. There was a 750-year-old Trisulam that has been worshipped by them for so many generations. And the last person in her family who was in charge of it was her mother. And she took it and gave it to one of her Periyapas, one of her father's brothers, older brothers, who himself was a yogi, who was himself half crazy because of yoga. He was unmattam. He used to eat aloe vera leaves in the morning. And he would put magosa, that is neem seeds, into boiling hot water and drink it like tea. And he would eat the gum that exudes from the neem trees. He was Siddha. Every day he would wake up at 3:30, have a bath and come and sit cross-legged on a stand that is hardly thicker than my finger. And it had two, there was a base and there was another thing on top. He would put a plank on that and sit. So he's balancing. And he would sit there for 2-3 hours chanting, singing, and most of the time he's silent. That Bhairava is an important part of Amma's family. And we remembered him. And he was placed here. The same form is there in that temple and the same form is in this temple. This form came first and we got another one made for the other temple. So the Trisulam is no longer the only murti that is there. This happened. Now, along with the Bhairava that is there are 8 Bhairavas that are normally accepted. Kala, Kapala, Kalpanda, Krodana, Ugra, Unmatta, Chanda, Samhara. If you notice, all of them are fierce. And when the Kshetrapala is there in the temple, all the others are there too. It's a given fact. And along with the Kshetrapalan, the Trisulam, all of them are respectfully brought to the flagstaff, to the Dhwajastambam, and restrained. With the prayer, please, until the end of the Brahmotsavam, do not hurt anyone. And in return, every day at midday puja, bali is given to them. One bali, the Digdevata bali is first given and the last bali is for Bhairava. And when the bali is being given, what do you say? O Bhairava, Devalayam Raksha, protect this temple and accept the bali, balim bhungshva. Why? Sarve bhakta jananan sakudumbasya apyudayam kuru ayukarta, ksemakarta, shantikarta, pushtikarta, tushtikarta, nirviknakarta, kalyanakarta, varado bhava. Give these as boons to the devotees who come. So you see, once the flag has gone up, Bhuda Bali is to be given. That Bhuda Bali is called Mudgadana Bali. Mudgadam is moong dal, pasipayar, rice, little bit of saffron or little bit of turmeric. If you want, you can put a pinch of saffron in it. That's considered to be one of the luxuries. So you can moong dal, rice with a pinch of camphor and made into a ball with ghee. We will stop there today and take questions.
One of the questions we had is, why do we offer silk dhoti and why do we sometimes offer a red sari?
Arunam Karunadaram Gijakshim Arunam Aruna Runa Kausumba Vastrava Swatkati Dadi Kausumbam, Kusumbam is a particular type of plant. The dye is taken from that plant, Kusumba Chedi, and the cloth is dyed with that. It is that red that the Devi wears. Nowadays, because Kusumba Chedi, who knows where it is? Nobody knows it. And unless you get a weaver to weave the sari for you, you won't know. So a red color sari is offered. See, we have lost some of those intricate details that go into this thing. Kusumba Chadi, you have to take the cloth, the woven cloth, white sari, and dip it in that red, and then it becomes very bright red. So the red sari is for the Devi, the white one is for Shiva. And silk. The instruction said, the one that I got from Kerala, it said raw silk. I don't know what is the difference between refined silk and raw silk. But this is raw silk, and I have noticed that the raw silk is rough. It's not soft and not soft like the Benares silk and Bangalore silk and all that. It is not like that. It is rough. So that is what you are supposed to use. Yes, next question.
Aya, you also mentioned that Bhairava is restricted or tied to the Dhwaja. Is that specific to Tantric temples, or is it also for all Agamic temples?
It is specific to Tantric temples. You won't see in most places when you go, you will only see the flag twisted nicely and wrapped around the Dhwajastambam. That's all the decoration that is there, except the Dharma grass. In a Tantric temple, it is different. The deity, it is decorated. You see how much time they spend taking out the old flowers and carefully replacing them with new ones. See, that is done only in a place like this. Okay? So the difference is, it's not there in the Agamic temples. At least they won't bring the Trisulam and put it there. Maybe they will do it with mantras. We don't know. Next.
What will happen to the current Dhwajastambam when the new one comes to the new temple?
Remember, in Kanchipuram, the two of them are there. Both will be there in the temple. What is there? Haven't you seen in some temples in India, when they have a Nandi, there are a row of Nandis in front of the main deity. The Pradhan Nandi is somewhere, and in between you will find Kuti Nandis. So like that, this Dhwajam also will be there. It won't be thrown. Yes.
And for the Dhwajam, when the new one comes as well, if both of them are there, which one would we do the Dhwaja puja to every day? Would it be to both at the same time, or?
You are bent on increasing our load. No, only one will be used. We have not still decided which one we will use. Maybe this one will be, like in Kanchipuram, this one will be just decorative. You won't do anything with it. Okay.
Another question we have is, can you have multiple festivals in a year where you hoist the flag?
Yes, you can. But unfortunately or fortunately, this temple is run by volunteers. And if we have even one more Utsavam like this, nobody will be able to take leave and they will all be gainfully unemployed. Because the people who do pujas, the people who clean up, people who cook, they are all volunteers. So we've got to now, that is another intersection that I was worried about when we built this temple. And so far, thanks to the grace of the Guru and the Guru Parampara, and thanks to the Devi, so far, this is the 23rd year or 23rd year, I think. It has been running. And I am hoping and praying that we will be able to manage with one priest in the temple who will be permanently there in the temple, and the volunteer pujaris will still continue. At least in the main sanctum, they should, the three of them, or four of them, Ganapati, Devi, Shiva, and Subramanya. They should be able to. So, that is how it is going to be. It is possible to have so many, and it is also possible to increase the number of days of the Brahmotsavam all the way up to 45 days. And at the end of the 45 days, all the volunteers will turn on Ayya. So, any more questions?
On the note of like multiple festivals and whether we can put the Dhwajam up, someone also was asking, could we have also hoisted the flag for something like Adhirudram or for the next Kumbhabhishekam then?
Yes. But when we do have a Kumbhabhishekam, Punaruddharana Kumbhabhishekam or Jeernoddharana Kumbhabhishekam, when we have that, the main deity itself is to be moved to the Yajnashala. When I say moved, through Nadi Sandhanam. You remember during Adhirudram we had a silver cord running all the way from the sanctum. That is done. So at that time, the flag doesn't go up. It will be done the next year. That's all.
We do have a few more questions, but should we save them for next class?
You can ask me one more question. Let's see.
Okay. Are there certain factors that you consider when choosing the Vahanam for Dhwaja Arohana Puja?
What? Come again, please.
Are there certain factors that you consider when choosing the Vahanam for Dhwaja Arohana Puja?
In the run-up to the Dhwajarohanam, just before Mahalaya Paksham has begun, usually in that time period, in the morning meditation and japam, indications will be there which one needs to be taken. So intuitively, I have to find out which is the Vahanam that she wants to choose. For instance, about 3-4 years ago, we installed Indra on top of the Dhwajam. Dhwaja Mule Ganapatim, Dhwajamatye Subramanyam, Dhwajagre either Brahaspati or Indra. So I chose the elephant. And when the elephant was brought and cleaned and done, all of that, when it came time to break the coconut for Ganapati, I just dropped it on the ground and it cut like exactly 2 halves. Clean cut. So much so that the people who were there, they remembered that. So like that, you will get a two-way communication between the deity and yourself. That intuitive component has to be developed in the pujas. It will happen. Okay?
Yeah. I guess.
Any more?
Yeah, there are a few. I guess I'll ask one more question, if that's okay. How do you determine and decide the images that are drawn on the flag itself? Because each year they were different, so we were just wondering, how do you determine that?
Now, depending on the theme. Now, this year's theme is Dasa Mahavidyas. And the deity in the sanctum is what? Is Rajarajeswari, Mahatripura Sundari. So, any symbol of the Mahatripura Sundari, a Sri Chakram or Bala Tripura Sundari Chakram, or the form of the Devi in the form of Kamakshi with the weapons. And if all that is not possible, a swastika Padma. So, you have to choose it according to the theme. All right. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aya, for a very informative session discussing the Dhwaja and the significance of it. And thank you again for taking all the time to answer our questions. To all our viewers, to access all the content from our prior sessions, please visit srividya.org/AYM-lectures. Thank you again for everyone for joining us for today's session. At this time, we will hand it over to Vyasana from Ashtanga Yoga Mandir to begin our yoga session.
Greetings and pranams to Haranaya and all the members, devotees of the temple. And greetings to all the members of the Ashtanga Yoga Mandir and all those who are viewing this session through the Facebook Live, YouTube. So as all of you know that following weeks, most of you all will be involved in celebrating the Navaratri. So all of you all will be slowly making arrangements. So in every pujas, in every rituals, what is important is at the end of the pujas, the meditation is a very important aspect. So that you give the time and the space for your system to absorb. Person to person, absorption process differs. Those who are in the high level of chantings, who do their daily sadhanas, their absorptions of energy, and versus those who do it on a specific days, there is always a difference. As how? A temple which has 6 times, like pujas, 3 times days pujas, and where we do in a home once, there is always a significant impact. So that is what, when you go into a temple, you feel more calm, greater, and you feel that there is something greater happening in yourself. So in case if you want to do your meditation, then it is important that you make yourself prepared. So sometimes in some temples, some facilities are there that you don't need to sit on the floor. But still, as yoga practitioners, it is very important that if you are able to sit down and do it, it will be great. So that is what in Ashtanga Yoga Mandir, we always in yoga therapy, what we do is those who are seated on chairs, we always try to give them the chair yoga. And from the chair yoga, they are slowly progress. So by about 6 months' time, they are very comfortable in coming and sitting on the floor. So they also feel great because from young, they have been sitting on the floor and praying. So that gives them a satisfaction, a confidence that their health is back in normal. So today's session, we will do few asanas or exercises, which is considered as pre-meditative exercises. So that is basically where you prepare yourself to be in the meditation process. So all of those who are doing this, you can just relax yourself and slowly move your foot. Just move your legs. All of you all start doing it. Straighten the legs and then slowly start moving it. The basic idea is this movement is very important because this practice makes your heel stronger. So this heel has always to be taken care of. If anyone has any issue or anyone has a calf muscle issues or if anyone has a cramp issues, take care of your heels. Strengthening the heels equally will start making your legs stronger. And then from there, bring your foot together, and then slowly bend, hold it like that. And the initial practices, you can insert your fingers into the toes, hold it, and then do about 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then slowly hold, and then gently start moving up and down. So this foot has to be kept straight, and then you slowly start moving as much as possible. In case if you feel that your leg is stopping like this, then you can keep some cushion or something like that and make yourself comfortable. The idea is that the knee comes and touches the chest in a very gentle manner. So you need to hold it here so that when you hold it here, you will not strain yourself. So just take it, pull it down, just take it out, down, up, down. So you do about 9 times, very gently, in a very relaxed manner. And then after that, slowly take it, and then straighten it, and then slowly bend your leg, hold it. And what is most important is that you need to ensure that you are able to insert it well. That is, index finger between the big toe and the second. Like that, you go on inserting it well, and then you have it in such a way, you will see, and then after that, you will start to do the rotation. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The other way around. This practice you can also do while seated on a cushion, in a chair. You can easily do this practice. And then after that, so either you hold the big toe. When you hold the big toe, the impact is greater, but you can also hold it like this, firm grip, and then you slowly start moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then slowly straighten the legs. Sometimes you will see there are some people, when they bend, there's a lot of space, like this, like this. So you can do this practice. 1, 2, just start pressing down. 3, 4. So what is the reason for you to hold here is basically that you don't strain yourself. Understand? So there's a control here, and then you just do to your comfortable capacity. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you need to know there's a difference between this practice. You take it up and drop it. Here you consciously send it down so that the Sukhasana or Padmasana or Ardha Padmasana or Siddha-Yoni asanas, all these practices or Swastikasana all comes easily for us. And then slowly come into this position. Very gently start moving. So as I told you, you can do these practices on your bed, you can do it on your sofa, in the initial stages. And then you slowly start preparing yourself. And then you slowly straighten it, and then bring legs in, and then slowly start moving very gently. So here there can be distance. For some of us, we can bring it here. For some of you, it may be like this. So hold it like this. So don't do it like this. You hold it here because your hand has a distance. You hold it here. Sometimes if your leg is like this, it's all right. Don't do it like this. In this position. Okay? And so you do this practice in this position for about 27 times. And then you keep your hands in this position beneath, and then just push it to the sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, who has a comfortability, you start from here. You see one hand I'm showing you. Push it here, and then you come like this. So you come in. So you will see, you bring your hands inward as much as possible. Same way, do it on the other side. And then after that, be in this position. Okay, sometimes you can be like this also. It's all right, no problem. Just be like this. Take deep breath. And then slowly relax yourself. So this sequence of practices will ensure that you are able to prepare your body. You can be of any age, but that gentle practices will ensure that you will be able to slowly improve and nourish your hip, knee region, calf muscles. And sometimes this whole process will help you. Sometimes when we sit down, there is a type of numbness which arises for certain people. The circulation of the blood goes a little bit slower. These practices helps you. So just do it for one mandala, and you will see that your body will give you a tremendous result, which will encourage you and which will make you happy. So thank you very much for joining the sessions, and my pranams to once again to Haranaya for giving us a wonderful explanation about all the important aspects of the Sanatana Dharma, and hope to see you all next week. Thank you all, and pranams to all of you. Thank you, and God bless you.